3,
Two,
1.
Monkey bars.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Thick and Butter Podcast. My name is Alex.
My name is Jesse.
Okay, Thick.
And Butter.
Yeah. This is episode.
94.
Okay, 94.
Yeah.
We haven't got a podcast in a while.
Yeah, it's been a whole week.
Been a minute. Last week was weird because of that. I was like, you know.
I feel it.
Because we've done this so many weeks in a row, basically. I don't know what I was asking.
Yeah.
Like getting out of the loop of it was weird.
I since my day looks so
It's like
similar.
our therapy session.
Yeah, it's a therapy set. It's literally some of my only socialization I get too, which is sad to say out loud, but I love this so much. But it's one of also like my place markers for like where I am in the week too. Is okay, I did the podcast. Now like the week is like I know where I am. I have like a couple other things, like I took my shit on Tuesday. I got like I went to get the mail on Wednesday and I did the podcast. So like when the podcast doesn't happen, it felt like the last week just feels like an extension. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, sure.
I'm happy to be back behind the microphone.
This is gonna be a special one today, because we're gonna talk about two recently released motion pictures on HBO Max and one in theaters, one exclusively on HBO Max.
Yeah, but both in HBO Max.
Yeah, both on HBO Max, and they're two movies that I'm excited to talk about because I was excited for both of them. But before that, I think we wanted to discuss a mutual thing that we were very excited about and something that we mentioned probably on the podcast before somewhere. Brockhampton.
Brockhampton.
They are a hip hop collective from everywhere, and they
released a new album.
Are amazing, and they released a new album on Friday, the April 9th.
Wow, was that almost a week ago now?
Almost a week.
Yeah, almost a week ago.
And it was called Roadrunner. New Light, New Machine. This was something that I was very excited about.
Yeah. How long has it been since their last album, which was Ginger?
Ginger came out in August of 2019, I think.
Okay.
End of summer of 2019.
This is not an extremely long hiatus.
No.
This is like a normal gap.
Well, for Brockhampton, it is, because since 2017,
right, because they're so rapidly released.
They have released an album every year since 2017.
Yeah.
So, actually, since 2016, if you count the weird mixtape that they did before the saturation.
Oh yeah, the salvage puppy.
Trash. No.
Oh wait, I don't know.
Trash.
Wait, what are you talking? Have I not heard this?
It's pretty like unknown. Like, it's on Spotify and Apple Music. They did it before saturation. It came out.
Okay. I was imagining. I do know what you're talking about. I was thinking that this was an EP in between saturation.
They did do that. Yeah, remember that? The EPs. The EP you're talking about, the 3 songs.
Yeah, that's like Diana and stuff.
Yeah, Diana.
Yeah.
Sherman, yeah. But since 2017, since blowing up in 2017 with 3 incredible albums of the Saturation series, which is kind of iconic at this point to hip hop fans in the 2010s for sure. It was just such a cool thing to see this group of fucking guys who were just living in this house and fucking bumfuck
Who are our age,
who are our
apparently,
age, who
which is
were
23, 24.
24, yeah, 20-year-olds living in South Central California and making a name for themselves by themselves on the internet by just being fucking great.
Yeah.
Um, and their music was very cutting edge. It was uh, it was a perfect amalgamation of all these influences that people our age just grew up listening to, like Kanye, Matt Miller, Tyler the Creator, On Future.
Yeah.
They're amazing. And when they came out, I was like, fucking there. I was like, bro, these people are insane. I guess they became a super fan. I am a super fan, probably.
Yeah.
Um,
It
I love
was
them.
and they just brought something that was incredibly unique that is
Yeah,
still
yeah,
so like Brockhampton is still just Brockhampton. And like
yeah,
what you talk about this a lot, how one of the significant things that they did was how they perfected like the group formula that was established with
yeah.
like what is Tyler the Creators? Is that Odd Future?
On Future Wolfgang kill them all.
Yeah. So that like group, which
Yes,
apparently I haven't listened to them as much, but like
yeah,
this is like taking perfecting that formula too,
right,
which was what
yeah.
was
And
so
like,
cool about it.
Kevin was, Kevin Abstract, the leader of the group. He,
Brilliant boy. What a
yes,
brilliant
and
boy.
he is he was extremely influenced by Kyler, who in 2010, 2011, for like on the internet, Kyler the Creator, formed this group on Future, which as a group, they weren't they didn't release a lot of music as a group. If you look at the artists that are in on Future, I mean, you're like, okay, well, at least three of these people are some of the most iconic musicians ever, period. So
Hmm.
Tyler, Frank Ocean, Earl Sweatshirt,
I always forget
and
Frank Ocean was a part of that. I always
right,
forget that.
yeah, and so they were obviously a success, but not like as a collective. And I think like Brockhampton is like embodies that millennial angst, kind of hip hop shit, but
Yeah.
doing it way more artfully and like executing it way more interestingly than Future ever did. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
And
but yeah,
but like the thing that's interesting about Roadrunner is that it's sort of the part of the second half of their career, which
right,
like they had the Saturation trilogy, then the Amir breakup, and then they
yeah,
went in this very different direction with
yeah,
their albums, which were much more emotional
yeah,
and sort of like Saturation has very complex compositions and musical like
yeah,
interludes and
right,
stuff, which is
right,
why it's awesome, but
yeah,
it's also like very like energy centric. But
yes,
Ginger, but Iridescence, Ginger, and Roadrunner is much more like emotional
yeah.
and even more uh
Mature, I would say, is
yeah, yeah.
as them growing up,
Yeah,
Um,
it's like them what I like about these albums and especially Roadrunner, I think
yeah,
especially Roadrunner is them like working through their developmental crisis, about becoming adults,
right,
like
yeah, right.
Saturation was them being like we're fucking 23, we are invincible,
We're
let's fuck the
young,
world up.
yeah, right. We
Yeah,
want to
we
be
don't
famous.
care.
We want to be a
And
boy
now
band. Yeah, like,
and now
yeah,
they have like stakes in the world, they've gone
yeah,
through some trauma and they're trying to figure themselves out, and it's
right,
really reflect. And usually when that happens, I feel like especially for people of their age, it sort of is just awful. I can't think of an
yeah,
example, but
right,
I feel like that's kind of a recipe for a disaster a lot of
yeah,
times. But
yeah,
they have really created I just love those three albums, and
yeah,
Roadrunner
yeah,
Roadrunner's just like another great example of just how impressive they are.
yeah. Ginger was an album that a lot of fans
They were bummed by that. They didn't like
loved
it that
about
much.
it, and I love that album,
Me
and
too.
I can see why, I guess. But because Ginger was very stronger album. It was very low key. There weren't these kind of bangers that Brockhampton kind of built their name off of,
Yeah.
which I don't really like. That's one thing about like some people will say about Roadrunner is that Roadrunner has some of those songs, the silvering qualities, but the thing that I think what makes this album so great, Roadrunner, is that to me, when I listened to it the first time, I was like, this is a perfect, almost a perfect execution of what Brockhampton is kind of like musically and all their influences and what
Mm-hmm.
uh you get the bangers, you get the boy band side of things, you get the emotional side, you get all these uh uh like the hip hop, the hardcore hip hop shit. You get all of their influences. There's something here for every Brockhampton fan.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Mm-hmm.
the buzz cut, which is just an absolute just punch your friend in the stomach. You know, or along with that, don't shoot up a party. Punch your friend in the face and then
Yeah.
punch him in the nuts. That kind of energy.
Yeah.
And then you got the old news. You got the fucking Count On News, which is that boy band thing, that pop side of Brockhampton, which I love, and
Yeah.
I love that about them, that they love, they can do like a buzz cut or a Windows, which is just like a fucking hardcore gangster rap
Yeah.
song, and they can whip out Count On Me, which I don't like that hook. If that was sung by NSYNC in 1995, would
Yeah.
be a massive hit. Like they could do that, and but
100%.
someone might listen to that and go, "That's kind of corny," like the boy band
I had
aspect
that
to it.
thought. Yeah, I definitely have had that
But
thought
the thing
before.
about what I love about Brockhampton is it's not like it's doing what like makes those boy bands maybe great. It's like the camaraderie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the kind of playful elements of the pop kind of qualities about it, but actually making it emotional and actually making it like work. And it's
Yeah.
just such a cool flipping of that because boy bands they suck. They're corporate. You know, like things that are just put together like a music label and put out.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's also it's
this
also
is actually celebrating it in a way.
yeah, and I think in addition to authentically being a boy band, they also have this aspect of being of this stance of being a boy band is very modern appropriate
Yeah,
because it's almost like they're an ironic boy band. Like it's not
yeah,
totally
yeah,
serious in that sense, which is
yeah.
really good for internet culture because that is what internet boy bands
They're
have to
they're
be.
they're ironic, but they take it seriously. I mean, when
Yeah.
you ask them, they're like, "Yeah, we're a boy band." And like when you
Yeah.
hear like old news, like that hook is just like, bro, like is this an instinct? Like
Well, it's
this
like
is
it reminds me of shit like hyper pop, like
yeah,
Food
yeah,
House
yeah, sure,
or
sure, yeah.
100 Gex, where it's like this is like legitimately great music,
It's
but there's a
taking things that are
layer
kind of
of not
corny.
serious.
Absolutely, it's like
Yeah,
taking that thing that's kind of corny, that like dubstep bass, that fucking chipmunk vocals, or
yeah.
but making it artistic and
Uh,
making it cool.
I
And
think
like
I
I love shit like that. I
me
love it.
too.
I
There's
love
that
like just subverting expectations like that.
and it's always a lot of times I think like aesthetics right now which I really like is just like there's these it's so multivalent, there's so many
Mm-hmm.
layers to it where it's not just like it's like we're Led Zeppelin, we're a rock band, we represent like
Yes.
not being
Yeah.
part of like
Right.
we're this or
Right.
like we're punk, we're
Yeah.
against
Right.
this. Like Brockhampton's just sort of like boy
The rock
bands
happens.
hang out,
Yeah.
we smoke weed,
Yeah.
also
Right.
don't shoot up the party is like this
Yeah. Right.
this political anthem. It's like
Yeah.
what is
Right.
going on? This is
Yeah.
so
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
Everything which is like so because the world is such a cesspool with the internet, like
Right.
everything is just a cesspool of everything else, and
Yeah.
that and we're just like these which is how life is. It's not
Yes.
like a
Yeah.
person is just like I'm one thing, I am this thing.
right.
I go to work. I am gas station worker. That's who I
Yeah.
am. Even gas station worker has a weird conglomerate. You know, everyone's a food house. Everyone's a money machine.
But yeah, I've been listening to it a lot. I love it as a Brockhampton fan. I think it's I listen. there's a lightning in a bottle quality. I think Pantera said that, and I was like, when he said that in the review for this album, I was like, yeah, that's so because there are fans of Brockhampton that are obsessed with that Saturation trilogy. I fucking am too.
Yeah.
But there was a lightning in a bottle like quality aspect to it where like because a lot of fans like want to get back to that, right? That like
Yes.
fucking it's not gonna happen. Like they are long past that, you know, and
Well, which is
to
part of
me
why I think they're so successful, because it wouldn't be
oh
genuine for
yeah.
them to try to
Oh yeah.
recapture that. Instead, they're
Absolutely.
growing and doing different
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. And that's they're also they want to do that. That's what they want to do. You know, they're
Yeah.
artists. They want to fucking do different things and like experiment. But I hesitate to call this their best album
Yeah.
because it's only gonna go out for like a week. But I think that if I was gonna show to somebody for the first time, Roadrunner might be the one that I would show them. Be like, do
Yeah.
you like this? Because if you do, have fun. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think I kind of want to because we haven't like talked about it.
No. Yeah. Let's
So
let's like
I
let's
think
go through it.
right now, if you don't know who Brockhampton is
Go
or any of these
listen,
numbers,
man.
go listen, learn all the. We're just gonna be dropping names. We're just gonna be. We're not gonna explain to you
There's
who
like 17
Joba is,
people
who
in the
Bareface
band.
is,
Yeah.
who
Get
Dom
a
is.
fucking program of
Just
real
go.
Brockhampton
Just
fans
go.
here. We know
Yeah.
everybody by name. We have their phone
Here.
number. I have a picture of fucking Matt Champion's feet on my phone. Everyone, we all know Brockhampton here. Get with the
Yeah.
program.
Yeah. Oh shit. But yeah, I kind of wanted to talk to you specifically about it
Yes.
because not the people, because like
Fuck
we
them.
love Brockhampton and we talk about it all the time, and I like haven't had an in-depth talk to you about the album, so like it's kind
Yeah.
of crazy. So, so, uh, I so you like Buzzcut? Because I remember when the single came out, you were like, I don't know, man,
I was really
it's okay.
lukewarm on it.
Yeah. What made you turn around? Was you like hearing the whole thing and the context of it? Or...
I there's multiple things that went on. Like I had to, when I first started listening to Roadrunner, I had to stop because I was being really negative about it. And it's
Right.
just like, this is pretty good, but like it's not really like grabbing me. And I was just like, dude, like hold
Not
the
a lot of
fucking
music
phone.
does. You kind of have to. You have to
You have
let it
to,
like sit. You know.
yeah. And the thing that I realized is, I think one of the problems that I was in when this album was coming out is that I was having kind of like issues with my own music that I needed to work
Yeah.
through. And when
Right.
shit like that happens for me, I have a like, I get really critical of music, you know, just like
Sure.
other
Yeah.
music. I'm just like,
Yeah.
everything's
Yeah.
trash. No one knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like once I dealt with that and I got back into it, then I could start like appreciating like it for what the album actually was. And
Yeah.
after doing that, then it started to resonate with me. And the reason why Buzzcut was sort of I guess a little bit, what's the word, like dissonant to me when I first listened to it, or like why this album was kind of dissonant to me, like the first 3 songs on this, which are the 2 singles in Chain
Yeah.
On, which I
Right.
don't really like Chain On that much.
Sure.
I'll say
Yeah.
that right now.
Yeah. Sure.
It's fine, but I'm not, it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But like Bankroll was just really the song that really got us like solidified
Yeah. Right.
that I like
Sure.
the album.
Yeah. Right.
But the thing about this album is that it has a lot more, I don't know what the correct phrasing to it is, but like having like features and shit. And it's a
Yeah.
lot more
Features.
sort
Yeah.
of like
Right.
traditional hip hop sounding, which is like,
Yeah.
it's like they're reincorporating that into their style, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
with the boy band stuff, which makes them really unique. But like
Right.
I think my initial gut reaction, which was more like an emotional thing than like legitimately anything was that like, oh, they're becoming conventional. That was what I couldn't get out of my head. But once I really was able to work through my own shit and get to Buzzcut, I've just been really appreciating it like so much more. And more going through that.
I think Buzzcut is just like, amongst fans, it was like unanimously just loved. Like, so, like I remember when Ginger came out, it was like the single for Ginger were kind of rocky. I remember like I've been born again. People were like, the fan base was kind of like turned off by it. You know, the singles, but this one like just hit. You know, like everybody kind of, it was blowing up. The video was absolutely insane. You know, and like I feel like to me, I had no issues with it. I thought it was a perfect.
Yeah, he loved it from day one.
Loved it. Fucking loved Kevin's flow. Loved his fucking just cold. Kevin on this album has never sounded like this. I
think you said
hungry.
Hungry was the word you used.
Hungry,
I love that.
You know, he's so. I think like one of the things about this album too is like every number. There have been albums in the past where it's hard for Brockhampton. There are like 7, vocalists, 7, 8 vocalists, and sometimes a member might not get the shine, on an album. You might want to hear more of that. You might want to hear more Jogo or something. To me, on this album, every member had like their moment, a standout moment that I could picture, like Bareface on the end of Windows, or that on Don't Shoot Up the Party, or Joba on the whole thing. And so, like, so, and Kevin on Buzzcut, or Dom on Chain On, Dom on Windows, Windows Street, Merlin on Bankroll, and so you always have these, because what's interesting is what you're saying, that when I first listened to it, I actually did feel that same way too. Is like there are a lot of features. There's more features on this album, which I was excited about. Like I wasn't like, because I was like, oh, it'd be cool to hear like, um, you know, other artists kind of go with the Brockhampton. I want to know what that sounds like.
Yeah.
And like, and for me, I thought they did an amazing job with that. I think like
I agree.
all the features on this album, I think, worked extremely well. Even like the one maybe like "Count on Me" is a song that like I don't like love. It's like one of the, there's a couple out here that I'm kind of like not really down with. "Count on Me," I don't mind it.
Yeah.
To me, it just feels there's not enough Brockhampton on the song. It's ASAP Rocky and So Gone So Flexy, and then that on the back end. But it to me it felt too like, oh, it seems like they're just trying to make a Sugar, like another Sugar, because Sugar was a pop hit. Sugar was a hit.
Yeah.
And so it just felt, and I know that's not what was going on, but it just felt like they were like, all right, we gotta have like a pop tune on here. Because Shawn Mendes is on the hook, and you kind of, it seemed like that they were like wanted to try to get it to like a number one.
Yeah,
it's not a bad song at all. It's just compared to the other ones, it's very much an outlier.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I enjoyed "Count on Me" more as a single when I first heard it, but that's because "Count on Me" is ear candy,
exactly.
and it's good for like, and it's kind of one of those songs that
I like the song. Like I think like the flows are catchy, the hook is fucking awesome. It's just very like bare.
Well, one of the things
going on.
One of the things
you get out of Brockhampton,
Yeah, one like what we were talking about. I think this is an example of like one of the songs where they're testing out, trying to do something that's more saturation-ish,
right.
And it's like, and it's just not quite as genuine to them as it used to be, It's like Count on Me is still a good song though, right? It's still a good song, but like it's all, maybe it's just the context of the album it's in, because because like this album is so because one of the things I think was also
It's
like
so good.
one
Yeah,
of
yeah.
what I had to like adjust to with this album was how like first of all lyrically based, which is weird to say because like yeah it does lyrically based, it's a rap album, but
No,
like
I know what
this
you mean though. This is an album that is very much like to me inspired by the Beastie Boys, like Wu-Tang Clan. They're on this album they're rapping more and
yeah
they're spitting bars. You know,
and
they are actually kind of went in. They're like, this is our rap. Like Windows is just a straight up 6 minute rap odyssey. You know, that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And I think the other thing too is that the production and the way they designed this album is like really raw, stripped down, and kind
yes,
of
yes,
lo-fi
yes,
because it's
yes.
all about sort of
The
it's
grindiness.
centering around the griminess and that
Yeah,
emotional sort of vulnerability
yeah,
behind
right,
it too,
right,
and which I
right.
think once I sort of adjusted to that,
Yeah,
then
right.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
But it is, and which Ginger was like that too, but it's sort of Ginger
This,
has is
yeah,
sort of like this electronic sort of juiciness to it that also has
yeah,
like these sonic like effects, like it's more of a
yeah,
sonic experience
yeah,
too, which
right.
this album also is. Like the light
Yeah,
is
right.
such an amazing production,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's just so it's so direct in
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in what like is being said in the
sure.
songs and stuff, and it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
punchy.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that like definitely like grew on me way more I listen to. Like on first listen, like
Absolutely.
there are songs on here that just punch me in the face immediately. But
Yeah,
um,
like the light and don't shoot
but
up the
yeah,
party.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which, but I also want to say like I understand why you don't like Count on Me or Chain On. Totally
yeah,
understand it. It is very much a old school hip hop song. It is very much for me, I don't like love it the first time I heard it. The more like I was curious, like the more you listen to it, because
I think
Dom
it
and
could
JPEG
grow on me.
Mafia to me, JPEG. What I love about that song, like in terms of like JPEG Mafia being on that, is that I think a lot of people who don't listen to JPEG Mafia, this is kind of like a rant a little bit, but
Yeah.
they
Lay it
kind of
down, brother.
categorize him as like this guy, like this Death Grips dude, who
Yeah,
not comparing him to Death Grips, not that rant. But it's
yeah.
the rant where where like people who like maybe just listen to I don't know Migos or something, like will hear a JPEG Mafia song and have no idea what's going on. Like the beat is just so insane. The beat's so insane.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't even understand what it's saying. And that's like but to me, like yeah, I think the first thing you notice is like JPEG's production and how like unique and grimy and chaotic and beautiful it is. And sometimes that you sometimes forget how good of a rapper he is. I think
sure.
people forget how lyrical and how technical he is as a rapper. And I was so happy he did a song like this because it is literally just it sounds like a beat that came out of straight out of like a beat machine of like '92 with like
Yeah,
presets. It's a cool beat. It's a nice groove, you know, but it is dusty as fuck. You know, it's like sounds like it's from the '90s, and so but him just being charismatic as fuck and just spitting awesome, just great. It's a great verse. It is
yeah,
awesome. It is packed with one-liners and everything that I love about JPEG as a rapper. And then Dom, who like matches his energy, it's a complete rap song. Like there's no changing in the beat. There's no nothing. It is just
yeah,
it feels like a cipher, you know. And
yeah.
that's what I like about it. But I totally understand.
Yeah, that's a great interpretation. I think multiply just for me, just having the same beat the whole song is just not really my thing. But I haven't
Yeah.
really
No.
listened to that
Yeah. Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm really curious. What are the other songs that were kind of duds for you? Like, in Count on Me
Does
was
so.
one.
Uh, Count on me. Um. Uh. I'll take you on, featuring Charlie Wilson, which
I
I like that song, but I think there's a pacing problem with that song. I just think it overstays its welcome. But it's weird because I love the ending part of that song when Charlie Wilson comes in finally
Yeah.
with his powerful voice and the kind of spacey kind of outro with Kevin.
Yeah.
I love that part. I think there's a part in the middle where the chorus goes again, or like after that bareface like kind of verse. I think it gets a little stale, and also their voices sound like the more you listen to it, the more like it doesn't sound very like natural.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like and and parts of old news.
I
But
okay. I'm trying to remember which one I'll take you on is because I don't remember having basically my problem was
okay,
basically I basically just thought Chain On was a dud, and
sure,
that's basically it. Like that was like
yeah,
for a
okay,
while Buzz for a while it was just like I didn't like Buzzcut, I didn't like Chain On, I didn't like Count on Me, and then the album started. But
yeah,
now I
right,
love Buzzcut, and then like I could
yeah,
skip
right,
Chain On. I usually skip Chain On.
right,
Then like I'll usually listen through Count on Me because it's still a fun song to listen to, and then like
mm,
the real good shit starts.
yeah, sure, yeah.
But
No,
like
I like it for sure.
I also
Dude, it
don't
is a
really
summer jam. I mean,
yeah.
dude, there are some fucking jams that I'm just gonna be playing all summer.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't really remember I'll Take You On that well though. It might
Yeah,
be if it's what I'm thinking of, then I totally agree with the pacing thing because
yeah,
there's one song where like the ending is cool, but they just sort of go through the same part sort of
yeah,
redundantly a
yeah,
little
right,
bit.
yeah.
Um
That's probably the one that you're thinking of.
so okay, I think that for me, I think that some of the obvious like hands out like highlights of this album are like The Light and
Like
Don't Shoot
part
Up the
one,
Party.
part two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that whole
yeah,
sequence and Don't Shoot Up the Party, which are just like these
yeah.
magnificent odysseys. But there's
Right.
also like What's the Occasion is like one of my
Oh yeah.
favorite
Wow.
songs
Yeah.
of Brockhampton
Yeah. Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely, dude.
love that song.
Absolutely.
Which
Absolutely.
that one's kind of like
That one
a
blew my mind. I texted my sister. I was like, so they just decided to let's just make a rock song.
yeah.
Just do that. Let's just make an
Yeah.
indie rock song.
Yeah.
And
That's
doing it
exactly what that
so
is.
well. Like
Yeah.
so well. You
Yeah.
know?
It reminds me of
Like,
Fire from Kids See Ghost a
yes,
little bit.
yes, yeah.
I really, and you know, it's kind of interesting because I feel like if I were to describe this album, I think the quintessential thing that are the most Roadrunner about this album is songs such as The Light and Don't Shoot Up the Party. It's like that's Roadrunner.
Right.
And then like What's the Occasion is an
Yeah.
interpretation of like San Marcos in the
Yeah.
Roadrunner aesthetic. It's
Yeah,
kind of
right. Yeah,
how
yeah, yeah,
I would
yeah,
think
yeah,
of
yeah.
What's the Occasion.
Sure, yeah. Um, I love those songs. Windows is just fucking
I love
awesome.
that song.
I
I
I want
love
to see
the
that live
oh, that
so
would be
bad.
so cool. That would be so
Yeah.
cool
And that's
because it's
another song that, like, to me, like when I was talking about earlier with the boyland element and the hip hop element, that song, when I was listening to it, I was like, dude, they get it. It is.
yeah.
I kept thinking about. They posted this promotional video of the RZA, God, who was sampling on this album, which is so fucking cool. At the end of Chain On, there's that
Yeah.
cream sample, which is just. I mean, it's just so crazy. Cause like I was following these dudes when they were living in a fucking like shitty house. Now they have like a Wu-Tang sample of it. That's fucking
Unbelievable.
awesome. But
Unbelievable.
but they released that promotional video of them talking to RZA.
Yeah.
And RZA goes, he says something so great because he's God, he's the RZA. And he goes, what you guys got that no one else has got is like you guys have that that griminess, that like futurist, that you know, but you have that boy band element that no one has, that no one can like even come close to you guys. You guys own that. And
Yeah.
that song is a perfect representation of that because you have this beat that is grimy as fuck. It's like this. It is one of my favorite beats Brockhampton has ever done. It is. It there's so many changes in it. the bass from that fucking transition, the bass hit, it is it hits so hard.
Yeah.
And so but there's parts of that song that are like the go whirling,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shit, so boy band. And then there's this part, this bridge with Ryan Beatty, who's one of the vocalists who they work with a lot.
Hmm.
He goes like he has like a bridge where he's talking about the boys are gonna come get you, the boys are gonna come, but it's like presented in this boy band vocal way, and
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's such a beautiful like marriage of uh stylistics that make them so great, and I think Windows is like a perfect representation of that because it's this song that also has a great chorus that just comes out of fucking nowhere, and then
Yeah.
this awesome kind of spacey outro, fuck the world and all that, and have to get this
Yeah.
whole spacey thing, and they leave, this kind of space for this bareface verse that you just don't expect. And it just comes in so cold blooded and laid back and cool. And it ends just so it's just such a great centerpiece for the album. I fucking love that song.
Yeah. Me
I
too.
think it's gonna be one of their um most like the best things that they're gonna perform when they do go on tour. That
Yeah.
song's gonna go crazy live, I think.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so I love that song. When I Ball kind of blew me away because it was like this it was a beat that was super nostalgic with the strings, with the horns, and
Hmm.
it,
Hmm.
and Dom and Matt were spinning these beautiful verses about growing up and painting these beautiful pictures of with their parents and growing up and learning how to be a man,
Yeah.
um with this chorus that is so when I first heard it I was like, do I like this? Like, I don't know, because it's this very high pitched, almost like, perspective of a child.
Uh-huh.
Um, you always used to tell me, well, I can't be I can be anything, you know. Um, and it only took me like another listen to be like, nah, man, this is cute as fuck. I mean, this is
Yeah.
just, it's cute, it's adorable, it's kind of heartbreaking as well when you realize that it's actually Joba singing the chorus,
Yeah.
too, with the context of the album that we'll
And
definitely
and
talk about. But
and the beat is really
the
psychedelic,
beat is
you
awesome.
know.
It's not a Brockhampton beat. I had to look that up. I was like, did they do this? Because this is like insane. It is a it's a Neptunes beat,
Uh-huh.
which they named for Brockhampton, but
Yeah.
it's Pharrell Williams and the other Chad Hugo,
Oh.
Chad Hugo, and so
Oh, gotcha.
they are major influences. They Brockhampton
Yeah.
majorly influenced by them. So that's another crazy full circle thing that they got to work with, Pharrell,
Those
who's just
guys. Yeah.
another genius, So, um, yeah, so that beat was fucking awesome. The strings, the outro,
Yeah,
upon you,
these
beautiful, beautiful.
Windows and When I Ball, you're reminding me of one of the things that I think is what is so brilliant about Brockhampton. And this is more of like a an analysis of the way they make their songs, because I love how they're able, because usually the easiest thing to do to make like a good song is to make like a verse chorus that's
Yeah, right.
punchy,
Yeah,
and then a bridge that may be a little experimental, and then you
yeah,
do the chorus again, or maybe
exactly.
another
Yeah,
verse,
right.
which they've done that. They do a great
Yeah,
job with that.
yeah,
But what I think is brilliant about it, like a lot of how their songs work, like Windows is a really good example of this, is they tend to do this thing where they'll have an amazing beat or like intro type thing that goes
right.
into a beat. Then they have a really awesome verse. And
Yeah,
then they do something where they change the vocals but keep the beat the same with a slight
yeah,
variation. and then they do a beat switch, and then they kind of do that again, and then they beat switch again sometimes. And it's like, and sometimes they do like Buzz Cut is a bit more raw version of that, where it's just like straight into a really hard hitting verse. And it's like, that's the thing I love about it, because they're not as wacky as JPEG Mafia, which is just like, fuck the rules, I don't know what's happening, this is amazing. But they're a little bit more structured to follow, so it's still poppy, but it's like
they're a pop rap band to the core, man.
But it's so I just find it so fucking engaging, dude. Like I'm just so, because it's like what it's like, how it's so performative, because it feels like it feels like they're playing a drama production or something. Like, this really feels like Brockhampton. I haven't seen Hamilton, but I kind of imagine it as like that, you know, like Brockhampton, all of their albums should have like some kind of performance, like a play that's associated with them.
I mean, I think they know how to make albums. I mean, their biggest influence is Kanye West.
Yes. Right.
Kanye West is the king of that. You know, you listen to any Kanye West album, like you're watching a fucking production or something. It's insane how well everything flows together, and how almost nothing feels out of place. But also, like, what you're saying is like, like, you can do all these kind of beat changes and all these things to keep it interesting, but the performers are so engaging. And like, watching these guys, like, from the beginning, like, they are just getting, to me, they're getting better as rappers and as performers. There's certain numbers who, Zelda, for example, who, if you listen to the Saturation Trilogy, he's on it. You know, he's on some songs, but not nearly as much as he is now. And watching him kind of blossom into this, you know, one of the standout members, in my opinion, one of the most interesting artists in the collective, just because of how crazy, like, just versatile he apparently is. That we just, all he gotta do was sing, you know, on previous Brockhampton albums, bridges maybe, but on definitely on Iridescence, he started to rap more, and now he's just become. I mean, we'll get to it now. I mean, I think like the light. Hold on.
Ironic.
The light's worth the wait, baby. But I think, I mean, to me, the light is like, I listen to a ton of hip hop music about that. A lot. Joba's verses on both of those songs, and I'm not just saying that on like, as I'm a huge fan, is some of the most revealing and like heart wrenching verses I've ever heard in a hip hop song. And like, I just think that he is beyond brave to do what he did, but also like do it in such a beautiful way. Like, without, it's astounding. It's something that when I first heard it, I almost cried. I mean, I was on the borderline. The last moments of this album are really hard to listen to. They're really hard to listen to, and they're beautiful, but it is intense. Especially if you got the lyrics open and you're reading along to what Joe was saying, it will break your goddamn heart. It is absolutely heartbreaking. And like, I think what we're talking about is Joe reveals on this album that his father committed suicide in September during the pandemic, and shot himself in the head.
Wow.
And what Joba does on this is reflect on his father's death, and but does it in a way that is, it's just brutal. It's just so revealing and brutal and honest, and I've never heard something like it. You know, it's just, I can't believe that he did it. And like, and bravo to like everybody else in the group who let him do that. Let him have the fucking spotlight and go, listen, man, like if he wanted to do that, who is the emotional core of this album? Like who is
Yeah.
literally who is there's a reason why the light are such big mentioning it because it is almost the emotional thesis of the record.
Yeah, well, it's
And
like
also mention Kevin. Kevin on those songs is also super revealing and great. But we expect that from Kevin, right?
yeah.
He's super revealing in his music. And
Well, and it's like we can also give kudos to Kevin for being a band leader to know that that it
yeah.
doesn't have to be about him,
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah.
he made the right decision to make it
I
about
agree.
Joba because
Yeah.
that's how this album landed out, it's just
Yeah.
what it had to be.
Right.
Because the other thing that's beautiful about Brockhampton is how it just seems to be a sort of therapy session for those guys.
Yeah.
They
Right.
seem to want to kind of move on from it, so it might be more of like artistically frustrating right now,
Yeah.
but that seemed to be sort of a constant thing with Brockhampton anyway, which
Right.
is like another reason why this album's so great, because they have these constant themes of struggle and
Yeah.
suffering,
Right.
and that is so that's like a beautiful thing about this moment where it's like they, in addition to creating a dope ass song with just technically well done, it also captures this moment in Joba's life of where
Yeah.
he's not just like expunging this emotional stuff he has. He is
Right.
doing that, but he's also growing as a person, like before our
Yeah.
very eyes, like
Yeah.
as
Right.
we listen
Right.
to him, which
Right.
is one of the reasons why it's so like that song's so poignant to me,
Yeah.
is because I hear him like it's a way of him growing through it,
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
and dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just awesome. It's just
Yeah.
so awesome and
And I think it's
inspiring.
also it's inspiring too because I think like he also has the intention of hopefully this will help others that are maybe
Yeah.
going through this experience. Um, I've never had a loved one kill themselves. Um,
Hmm.
I don't I don't know. What I love about his verses is it is not like you might listen to it and you think like, oh, this is kind of sad, but it's more than that. It's he expresses emotions of grief, of anger, of sadness, but also kind of reflecting on happier notes with his father, and just in a few lines. The last verse on the light too. I mean,
He says
it's amazing.
one of the moments, my favorite line is when he says, "This is not tennis," which is like so
Oh yeah,
awesome and also
yeah,
hilarious. But the moment that always hits me too, which it's confusing because it's like this is sort of cliche in a way,
yeah,
but like he says that, I think he basically says, if I had a chance to sort of be with my dad again, I would give up this whole career,
yeah.
which is
Right.
just like, which is so interesting, because like it's like saying, it's just like, if I could choose between sharing this amazing song with you, or having my dad, I would obliterate this song from existence,
Right.
which
Yeah.
kind of gives
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
song sort
Yeah.
of like a Schrodinger's cat type of thing to me,
Yeah.
like it's like it is both, like it's like in a purgatory place where
Yeah.
it's probably one of the best songs and most proudest things he's ever made, but he wish it never existed because of why it
Right.
exists,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
like, wow, that is a
Yeah.
lot attached to a
Yeah.
piece of music. That's a
That
lot.
was, and it takes. I mean, for someone to do that, it takes. It's it's incredible. It's just
Yeah.
it, I was so taken aback by that. So that's like if you're listening to this and you haven't heard this album, I mean, warning that like those could be really hard to listen to. I've heard
Yeah.
this album a lot. There are times where I'm just like, I can't listen to this right now. Like it's intense. It's not. You know, um, Zelda at the end basically saying, one of her moments of Disney films is when he like just kind of
Yeah.
whispers this mantra, the light is worth the wait. Why does it do it? Please, like why does it do
Yeah.
it? The light is
Yeah.
worth the wait. And that's such a great mantra for this album because it is worth the wait. The light is worth the wait, and like for him, and just Joe expressing, you know, you're basically speaking to his dad through this music where it's like I'm gonna tell all my kids how great you were and all these
Yeah.
things. And it's just a lot, but it's cool.
Yeah.
As a fan, I'm happy that it's out there and like that he was able to hopefully that helped him in some way. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, I hope he's okay. I just want to
Yeah.
give him a hug
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
say you're gonna be okay,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude, fucking, they have
Roadrunner, man.
what they're saying is that they have one more album this year.
Yeah. But
Um,
and
that
that's
they're
it.
gonna retire.
But I was laughing because I was looking at the needle drop because he came out with something saying Brockhampton broke up, and I looked
Oh,
up
yeah, the
that
interview. Yeah,
yeah, I looked up that clip that was from the stream, and
yeah,
I was scrolling through other related videos, and there's three other versions of this videos from
right,
like 1 year ago and
yeah,
3 years ago.
exactly, right,
So it's
right,
like, which
right.
later confirms is just like, okay, this is sort of their vibe
Well,
too.
this is what I'm gonna say to that. They have their RCA contract is up with one more album. When they do one more album, their current record deal is up,
Is done. Yeah.
which means absolutely nothing. Which
Yeah.
means that they're gonna sign another one. But I think I did watch the interview, the Brockhampton interview.
Which was a little bit awkward. I wasn't able to get through it.
It was awkward. It gets better. They're just
Yeah.
on Zoom,
Yeah.
but it's great. Uh, Joe was so great. It's good interview. It's a great interview. If you love
Yeah.
Rock
Yeah.
Paper,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
really good interview. It's still a little awkward because there's 15 of them and they're on Zoom.
Zoom. Yeah.
It sucks. But um, is that I don't forget what I was gonna say. But their record label is going up, and I think what's gonna happen is that like they're gonna do Wu-Tang Clan. They're just gonna
Hmm.
like maybe stop making Brockhampton albums for a little bit, and then they'll just release solo shit, and then they'll be like, "Hey, you guys want to make a Brockhampton album?" Like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that's what's gonna happen. I don't think I think because Kevin said in that interview, he's like, "No, like I don't think." He was like, "No, we're not breaking up. It would be cool if we just stopped and just did our own thing for a while." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that's exactly what Wu-Tang Clan did. You
Yeah.
know, that's exactly what they did." And like
Yeah.
so, and I'll be out that I just don't I just don't want them to end. I don't want it to end.
Yeah.
But listen, like I think that they all have amazing solo potential, and I think like we're not gonna not hear from people from Brockhampton. It's not like they're just gonna disappear.
Yeah.
They're still gonna be around for a minute. So um, but yeah, I think one more album this year, and then we're gonna call it quits for a
Yeah.
little bit.
And move on
I
to other
think,
things.
and then Kevin's gonna release like a solo album, and somebody else can release a solo album, and then they'll just make
Yeah.
another one.
Well, Brockhampton has exciting stuff in the future, and I'm super happy with Roadrunner. But for now, I think it's time that we move on to talking about the multiple movies that we have lined up for us.
Yes, sir.
Um, the first thing that we're going to talk about is probably pretty briefly. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just get into this
Yeah,
deep
probably
conversation
briefly.
like what we did with Roadrunner, just about like sympathizing with
Ah.
Kong versus Godzilla. Are you more of
Yeah,
a
we're gonna talk
lizard
about
man or a
Godzilla versus
monkey
Kong,
man?
baby. Um, so this is the what do you think? Godzilla,
Uh-huh.
uh,
Third, right?
Kong,
Oh, Skull Island.
Kong, Skull Island. fourth. So this is the
Yeah, fourth.
fourth movie in this new Warner Brothers monster universe that I have had a lot of fun with.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
been a great ride.
like so, I love fucking watching movies. And I was very excited to see this because it's Godzilla versus King Kong.
Which is one of the more iconic
Yeah,
classic Godzilla films.
yes, and I went and saw this in the theater, and
Which is the way to watch this movie.
absolutely, yeah, yeah, not at not a whole lot of TV. Yeah, definitely go to the theater and see it. Um, I honestly think it's the best one out of the four, but
Mhm.
you know, it's I like this movie quite a bit. Like I think it for what it is and what it's going for, I think it's the best execution of what they're going for. I think there's things are that could have been a little better, but for the most part, I think this movie works, and I think it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. As a Godzilla and King Kong fan, I had so much fun watching this.
Yeah. I did too. I thought I had a blast watching this. And I think that you're right. I think this is the best executed of
Yeah,
these films. Like I think that as a whole, this film works the best. Like the
yeah,
story
right,
is
right.
again, the story is it
It's not
ain't the
great.
Godfather. It ain't the
No,
Godfather.
it's not great,
Uh
but it is better. It is
yeah, and
definitely it's a better story. They just wrote
yeah,
a better story
the
for these
thing about this
characters.
that's different than the other films, maybe I haven't seen the first Godzilla in a long time, but King of Monsters is that the story
Yeah,
is like functional,
right.
and in
Yeah,
actually like
yeah,
kind of in works logically,
yeah,
even
right.
though it's fucking shallow, but
Yeah,
I'm there for the
yeah,
big
yeah,
monkey,
yeah.
dude. Fuck that.
But
But
I do want to mention though, like, so the story, what I like about Godzilla vs Kong though is like it's way more ridiculous. Like one of the things that like I was kind of like weirded out about like King of Monsters is like it's not that ridiculous. Like they're in a submarine and like there's monsters, they're titans in it, but there's no like kind of goofy sci-fi plot. Well,
mhm,
that's what I want. This movie has that. They're going to the center of the earth. They're using, they're screaming at each other through holes in the center of the earth. It's ridiculous. That's what I want. And
yeah,
so, but I have to mention this, and I don't know what you'll think of this, but the other movies, maybe the first Godzilla, had some emotional thing that was kind of working. This movie had like an emotional thing that actually worked for me. Like genuinely was like
yeah.
that worked, and
Which
that
one?
was the little kid, the little girl, the mute little girl who can speak to Kong,
Yeah,
and has a relationship with Kong. I genuinely not like the I wasn't crying, but I felt something. Like I
yeah,
actually moved me because I loved the element of the little girl. She couldn't talk, she's mute,
yeah,
and she hears Kong's heartbeat, and she can kind of like do sign
yeah,
language with Kong. I thought that was great because it's actually using the monsters for the plot and for the
yeah,
story and
yeah.
for the characters. Actually interact with the characters instead of them just chasing it and running around the whole time.
I think that I think that was a great component. I think it was a good component. She was like, well, the thing that was good about her is that she was a character that was actually interwoven, relevant to the story, like you're
Yes.
saying. I didn't really feel for her. She was like
Yeah.
completely
Sure.
forgettable
Yeah.
for me. So I didn't
Sure.
have like any emotional attachment to her. What I didn't care about her at
Sure.
all.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care about any of the humans at all. So it's
Yeah.
like I wouldn't really say I had any emotional pull for her, but
Sure.
she was definitely the most
I just
creative
liked
human
their
character.
relationship. I liked Kong and her relationship. I thought it was super
Sure.
sweet, and I thought
Yeah.
it was genuinely heartwarming.
Yeah.
And because that's not like I wasn't expecting that. Like
Yeah.
the other films had like, which kind of makes me mad about the other films. I was like, why weren't you guys doing this like earlier? Like just have like a sweet thing.
Yeah. I think
Like
my thing with the my thing with the girl thing is that like that was like a good relationship, a good setup, but it just didn't really fall through to have any relevant to the overarching like film in general. Like by the end of the movie, she was just sort of like, I don't really remember her being relevant by the
I haven't
end.
seen it in a while. Well, didn't she? I think she had to speak sign language to him at some crucial.
The point where they found out that Kong could speak sign language for her from the boat, that was a cool scene.
That was genuinely like awesome. Like you're watching that, you're like, bro, that I like turned to Justin. I was like, bro, that worked like well. I was like, what's going on?
Well, okay, here's the other thing about Kong versus Godzilla that I think is effective about it, because even though in the previous movies, it's always Kong is sort of Godzilla, sorry, is the other that is a mystery and we're finding out about it.
Yeah.
But Kong is actually the main character of this movie.
Yeah, which I thought was a great idea.
It's a perfect decision because who gives a fuck about these shallow ass cardboard fucking characters? So it's like,
and that's what I kind of like about this movie. Like, I think Adam Wingard, I would love to see him make more of these monster movies because I think he gets it. I think he understands, like, listen, like, let's have it, like, so emotional in the moment with the monster. You know, we don't care about a father-daughter or a mother-daughter or a friendship. We don't give a fuck. We see that so many times. How about have an actual connection with the monster? You know?
Absolutely.
And then, so I thought that worked. And then, like, I just think also what you really come to see this movie for is the fights. And the fights
baby.
Fucking awesome. They are awesome. They are so good. They, like, all of them, and there's a lot of them. That's something that I love, is there's like maybe 3 or 4 significant fights between Godzilla and Kong in this movie.
Yeah.
And that's something that I love because, you know, they're like, we want to see the monsters, that we want to see them fight each other.
Yeah.
And each time it's epic. And the ending is just so corny and epic, and I love it. You know, and that's exactly what I wanted from this movie, man.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was making a comparison about. I'm not about to say I didn't like the fights. I love the fucking fights. Let me just get that out of the way. They were incredible. Yeah. They were all awesome. But that was the one thing as I was thinking about that I think that I actually think I preferred my experience with King of Monsters more than Kong because
Hulk, right?
Yes, that's one of the factors, though. That's one of the factors that I am considering is because I didn't see Kong in the thing. But the thing about King of Monsters is that the fights, I like the fights in King of Monsters so much because you had a plethora of it wasn't just Kong versus Godzilla. It was Kong versus Godzilla worked his way up to Ghidorah. That's what I liked about King of Monsters. The problem about King of Monsters and why I think Kong versus Godzilla is better than King of Monsters is because of all that filler garbage in that. It's almost unbearable of King of Monsters.
And the thing is, too, what I love about this is when you see the fights, King of Monsters was kind of concerned that it was shot from like a human perspective, and it was like the main characters seeing these fights. This didn't give a fuck about that. It was
one of the things
it in cool ways. You know,
but one of the things I did like about the perspective of having the humans as perspectives is the size scaling.
Bro, it's awesome. It's fucking cool. I think I just prefer this.
Sure.
Bro, it's fucking cool as fuck.
I think the other thing,
beautiful shit in King of Monsters.
I want to rewatch King of Monsters to see if my memory, because I had a really good theater experience with that movie, so it's like my memory of that. It's really hard to beat a good theater experience memory. So it's like I don't know if the movie was actually better of it, or if it's my memory was better than this movie too. But I really enjoyed watching the monster fights in King of Monsters. But the other thing about Kong versus Godzilla that I wasn't as into was the final fight scene with the Mecha Godzilla. Which Mecha Godzilla is awesome. That's a great idea, but it's just like, dude, this is like too much, honestly. It's just like you kind of just like threw this in there, and I know you had this subplot with these fucking schmucks who are running around like
Well,
Millie
that's what
Bob
Godzilla. That's
Brown.
what Godzilla. That was Godzilla's motivation for.
Oh, right. That's
Right.
true. Like
Yeah.
he did have that whole thing in there.
Right.
And but that's funny. It was developed from the very beginning,
But
and
it
yet
does
it
feel
still
kind of
felt
out of
like just
nowhere. Yeah.
inserted in there.
Right.
Well, I think the reason for that is because it's Kong's movie. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like
Right.
why do we have this shit about
Yeah.
Godzilla in Kong's
Yeah.
movie?
That's true. I mean, I think like I prefer King Kong. Well, hot take, maybe. I
Wow.
don't know.
Wow.
I
Burn him.
like.
Kill him.
I'm a Kong fan, so like I was happy to see a lot of Kong in this because I thought Kong Skull Island was quite honestly, fucking bad, really not good.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see Kong done in a really awesome way.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, the thing that I hated the most about this movie was the humor. And you know
Yeah.
what sucks?
Wow.
You know what sucks too, though?
What?
Lily Brown's awesome.
Yeah,
You
she's a
know,
great actress.
Brian Tyree Henry is awesome. You
He was
know,
in Child's Play, wasn't he?
he's in Child's Play. He's
He's in a lot
Paperboy in
of great
Atlanta.
movies. Yeah, he's a lot of
Bro,
great
I
things.
love him. I think he's awesome. Julian Dennison, who's the other kid in the movie, fucking awesome. I love him. And Hunt for the Wilder People, Deadpool 2. I think
Yeah.
he's hilarious. All complete trash. All
Yeah.
just complete miss the mark. The problem is like without I think the way that this was directed was they were all the comic relief. And when you do that, they just canceled each other out. Like they just fucking were like
Yeah.
Julian Dennison would put out a joke and then uh Brian Tyree Henry would try to like do another joke and they just kind of canceled each other out. So it was just like fucking weird. And just that
Yeah.
whole thing just did not work. And I hated everything that they were doing. I thought like I hated everything. Like I like the sets and shit, like the underground fucking like
Yeah.
I like that stuff, but it was like how like Millie Bobby Brown character was set looks like such a smartass and like the way like I hated her. I hate her character. I think she sucks.
Yeah.
And so I thought every time they cut to that, I was like, oh, dude, like, no. But when they cut to the little girl and the Alex Skarsgård character, I was more like, okay, like, whatever.
Yeah.
I can live with this. But yeah, but that was the biggest problem for
I,
me.
I I
The
agree with
villains
you.
were still not good.
No. But they
I
were
can't wait till they get them right. I can't
yeah.
wait.
Well, I think the thing that we were getting at with this movie is that they're getting closer, which is cool. It's cool that they're getting closer because what we
Because
want
they nailed the Oscar shit, man.
absolutely.
This proved too they got it. They
Yeah.
nailed the Oscar shit.
What we want them to work towards is getting sort of it would be a dream, but they're slow the goal, the idealist goal is that they get to a point of Jurassic Park, right? Where they have characters with emotional relevance to the spectacle of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
But the problem with this movie,
yeah.
the problem with this movie, which is exactly what you delineated, is that they got the functional part acceptable, right? The shit that was involved with the story of Kong versus Godzilla, that worked fine. It didn't agitate me like past situations had. But the situation that you're talking about did agitate me, which is the reason that I think it is that well, it's not emotionally relevant to the movie that you're making. It's like, why should we fucking care about what this is happening at all?
Very like exposition plot driven.
Absolutely. It's like, you're just telling me shit.
I get it. But here's a scene where I think I was watching this. I was like, "Fuck! I wish the whole movie was like that." So I was watching Godzilla vs Kong, and one of the scenes that I honestly got emotional and was like kind of blown away by was when Kong goes back to his homeland and he goes back to the center of the earth, and you see him, like, it's just a shot of just a seeing a Kong going around his homeland and discovering things, and he goes into the thing and he goes the reverse.
That was sweet. That was so sweet.
The thing when I saw that, and then when he noticed when he went and saw his throne and the fucking the kind of thing, I was like, "Fuck!" I wish the whole movie was like this, because it was just, what if it was just no humans and it was just a fucking silent film of Kong in the center of the earth, and he was just rolling around. I would fucking eat that up. And then I said, "Oh, money. That's a lot of money."
Yeah.
That's why there's humans in this.
But like that's the thing. That's another thing I remember we came out of
$500 million
to make that happen. I know. But it would be so sweet if they did, because I was thinking about that with King of Monsters. Like if they just made this a monster movie just exclusively, this would be like a dope ass short film. But so the other thing, that's actually a great point when you're talking about Kong, because I was thinking about that with the opening of this movie, which is pretty good, you know, like the opening.
Awesome, yeah.
But I was thinking about that. It's like, what, they were so close to doing something that was actually fucking really cinematic. Because really close. Because can you imagine? Because they sort of had it where Kong was like waking up, which was hysterical and awesome. But they didn't They didn't quite hit the point, in my opinion, of discovering the bubble. But like, dude, they were so close to doing that. It's just like, dude, they were scary close.
If it was longer, and they I think, because I was watching, I was like, dude, this is genius. I was like, when it started, I was like, dude, this is the fucking.
It was awesome. Great. It was so great.
It's tongue in cheek. They actually did like. What I love too is that what Adam Wingard did with this movie, he kind of made the Godzilla and Kong like have more of a character. Like there is,
like how Godzilla laughed.
Like Godzilla laughed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was weird.
When I was in the theater, I was like,
whoa.
Kind of love that. Kind of loved it. I was like, and also I loved when Kong, and when he was in the center of the earth, when the bad humans turned on them, and like he grabs the ship with the lady in it, and he just goes and just crunches it.
Yeah, that was sick.
Like, I love that because it's so tongue in cheek. It's like, this is not serious, people. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
I love that shit. And it's just such a great winking at the camera moment. And yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I hope that they make another one. I hope they keep making it.
Yeah, me too.
I think they're gonna at some point they're gonna fucking make something that's like, whoa, okay, that is a quintessential monster movie.
Godzilla.
They're working on it. They're working on it.
I really think it's coming, because like you're right, they just slowly, Skull Island maybe was like a dip. I didn't see that one, so I can't speak on that. But like for the ones I've seen, like I think King of Monsters was an improvement on Godzilla, and I think that this was like an improvement story wise, at least of of King of Monsters. So I'm the thing that's cool. I just love having I love this series, because unlike Marvel movies, which are just fun entertainment that you can go out and see, but there's like a battalion. You have to prepare for battle when you're talking about those movies.
Put your party pants on.
But for God's this movie, you just like go in and be like, entertain me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's great.
Punch loser.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. That's something that I need. And so I'm happy I saw some theaters. It was fucking.
I wish I did.
Bro, it was wild to be back in IMAX theater.
Yeah.
It was wild. And, every row, like every other row was taken off, and like for like 30 people in the theater. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. It was so fun. So
it sounds sweet.
Yeah, Godzilla vs Kong.
I'm jealous.
Really cool. You know, HBO Max account.
Check it out, maybe. Hopefully, I would recommend. I don't think the big screen is really actually a bigger issue. I think the bigger issue is that if you have a good sound system at home. So if you have a good sound system and you can turn all the lights off, you'll probably have a pretty good experience.
It's so fun. The fights are just they're fun. They're fun. Little side note about Godzilla vs Kong. my dad watched it.
Uh-huh.
He made me laugh. I mean, I was in tears. I came back from the movie, and he watched it on HBO Max, and I was like, "Did you like it?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Why?" And he's like, it was so like that would never happen. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He was like, "Godzilla and Kong are just fighting in Tokyo, like millions of people are dying." I'm like, there's also a giant monkey and a giant lizard fighting in Tokyo. I was in tears. I was like, so you're telling me you watched Godzilla vs Kong and you were sitting there going, "Oh, that'll never happen." As they go to the center of the earth that we know is hollow.
That's
Oh, it made me
funny.
laugh.
That's
The
good.
idea of somebody just cross their arms.
Unrealistic.
Yeah,
Super unrealistic.
they gotta do research.
Don't they know anything about lizards? They're like an inch long tops.
Oh fuck! But yeah, then so there's another thing that came out, I think, a while ago now. I don't even know. I feel like it was like a month ago at this point.
At least.
But this was something that we talked about earlier.
Another
In an earlier
phenomenon.
episode. Yeah. This is the Zack Snyder Justice League, baby.
Oh my
4-hour long Justice League cut.
Put on your go-go boots. We're going on a marathon.
Going on a marathon. And underline go on a marathon. 4-hour movie. And this is something that, like, before we start like our thoughts about it, I think that this is amazing that this happened.
I
think
agree.
This is like a fucking awesome thing that this happened. And,
I agree.
I think there's a lot of, and I want to say that because I was definitely one of them. I think like very cynical of this.
I was a naysayer too, dude. I thought it was a waste of time.
I hated Justice League, and Zack Snyder. While I think he seems like a nice guy, I don't really like his films very much. And so like I was kind of just like whatever. Um, and like the Justice League came out so long ago at this point, like 4 years ago, in movie time and life is a long time, especially like,
I was really surprised to find out how old Justice League was. I was stunned.
And so like I kind of was just kind of checked out, and DC's doing their totally different thing now. I mean, they don't even I don't like Wonder Woman and Aquaman are the only two characters that we really know are even like continuing. Ben Affleck isn't Batman anymore,
which is so crazy. Like we don't know what's happening with Superman and Batman.
After watching this again, I mean, I've always loved Henry Cavill Superman. He needs another shot. Get a different director. Don't get Zack Snyder. Get like a cool filmmaker to make a Superman movie.
Sure.
I think he's great as Superman. I fucking love Superman. We haven't had a good Superman movie in a long time. So I'd love to see a solo Superman movie. Come on, DC. Bring that on. Please, for the love of God. Brainiac. Just bring this Brainiac. And so yeah, I was very skeptical of this. And I gotta tell you something.
Yeah.
I think that this is genuinely good. And I think there's problems with it. There's obviously problems with it. But I am blown away. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, holy crap, they botched the fuck out of this. Because
dude, yes.
You watch this and you're like, first of all, I believe the first Justice League is under 2 hours.
It is an hour and 30 minutes.
Are you serious?
It's an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay. Fucking crazy decision. I don't know who decided that, but when you watch this, you are instantly, in the first 15 minutes of this movie, you go, yeah, no wonder this is shit. No wonder the original is shit.
Yes.
You edited the whole movie out. Like
Yes.
the
Yeah.
whole plot of the movie
After
out of the
watching
movie.
after watching for the 4 hour version, it clicked with me that's just like, oh my god, the hour and 30 minutes version of Justice League is a trailer for this movie. It's literally just
Yeah,
a trailer.
right? With a
Yeah.
completely different third act.
Yeah.
And so Jesus. So I don't think this is like a masterpiece. I don't think this is like,
Yeah.
maybe the greatest superhero movie ever. But I will say that Zack Snyder's full vision of this, the 4 hour version, is very interesting and
Yeah.
actually good. Like there was a clear vision there, and there was a clear like uh take on Justice League that I think was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
you know,
I
I liked it.
yeah, dude, no, I'm totally hype about this. I was planning on suffering through that movie and like taking
Right,
it blocks at a time, and I watched all 4 hours at one point because
right.
I was just like I was so excited by how much better it was.
And I'm kind of
And that
blown away too that the whole 4 hour thing. There are times where it kind of drags,
Mhm.
but
Not too
there's a
bad.
lot of story. There's a lot
Yeah.
of story, and one of the major complaints. I think the first thing I'll say that I think is fucking like a mile doesn't even do it justice. Like 80 miles better than the original theatrical version is one of the major issues with the original version. Characters just meet each other, and
Yeah.
they're like the Justice League, just like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
they don't.
And then the final act happens. The
And then
final battle
yeah, right,
happens.
and then Cyborg, Aquaman, Cyborg, those characters were basically pushed, and we didn't learn almost anything about them. This is before Aquaman came out, and so
Mhm.
this was so. But what I loved about this is when I was blown away that Josh Whedon or whoever fucking edited that original movie, I don't, I don't know what they're thinking, man.
Yeah.
Because when you watch this original, the Snyder cut, so much more. So much more given to each one of the characters. Each character has their setup, and each character has how they got into the Justice League and
Well,
what got them involved.
I think a great example of that you already mentioned is the opening of the movie. Which I
Yeah,
think is
right.
well, first there's two parts of the opening of the movie that's phenomenal. First of all, the original version,
Completely different.
the
Oh my
the
god.
original version opened with an iPhone shot of
Yes.
Superman, which is
With a fake,
stupid.
with a fake mustache. With
Yeah,
a CGI mustache.
yeah, and then this movie opens with Superman fucking dying and his
Right.
screams,
Right.
like showing it being a visual exposition, locating you, like bringing you
All
to
the mother
all the
boxes.
characters, all the mother
mother
boxes, which is
Right.
a great thing. That's a first one of the most important things about this movie.
Why the fuck they took that out or what
I
they
don't
did?
know.
No idea. No
Because
idea.
that was such an improvement because Justice League was so confusing because it's just like what is a mother box, what is happening,
Right.
and like
Right.
this movie set it up actually,
Right.
and it was
Yeah,
so much better. And then the other thing is that after we got that, we got a set of visual setup for what the mother boxes were, the key items that drove
Yeah.
the plot of this movie.
Right.
Then we went into this dope ass visual sequence of Batman in the tundra riding a fucking horse, Red Dead Redemption style, being Aquaman. Because that was one of the scenes that pissed me the fuck off because he went to that town, he like talked to Aquaman. And I was like, why is this happening? Why is he here? Why is Aquaman here?
That too, but like even that scene, like there are like it's staggering how much more and more scenes there are in the Snyder Cut, and also things that were like needed, like for the movie to make sense.
Yeah,
were, like, cut out of the
literally
movie.
unbelievable. It's like, how could you even fathom cutting this out? It's like really important to know what's going on.
And like and yeah, so that scene when like in the original, it's really bad when
so bad.
Aquaman, it's corny,
so bad,
it's so fast paced. You don't know why Aquaman's even fucking there.
But now it's like one of my favorite scenes.
In this movie, it makes you learn why Aquaman is there. First of all, you like Bruce Wayne kind of convincing him it's a longer scene. You know, I think a major issue with the original was the pacing of it because
Yeah.
we kept saying when we were watching, it's like there's ideas here that are cool that are just not being explored at all. And
Yeah.
this really, I mean, really does because it's
Yeah.
4 hours, paces it out to where
Yeah.
they leave everything in. They let the conversation sit. They let all the and sometimes you're like, do we really need to know this? But you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's
But
but it adds to the pace of the movie. It makes this movie feel epic,
yeah,
which
yes.
the original did not have.
No, not at all. And I think in addition to sort of slowing the pacing down, which was much needed, they also fixed a lot of problem moments of editing. And I think one of the
Yeah.
most impressive things is that they did that through literally editing the footage and also editing the sound. So they cut out a lot of shitty
Oh yeah.
dialogue and
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
and
This
they
is a
made it work a lot
completely
better.
different movie. I
one
mean,
of my
it's
favorite one of
completely
my
different.
favorite examples of that is also in the Batman scene with Aquaman, because in the original scene I'm thinking of when Aquaman's about to leave and Batman's talking to them, and they have
Right.
like in the original version they have this cheesy ass laughable conversation. In
Yeah.
this
Right.
version, it's no
No.
Godfather.
No.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying
No.
it's no
Yeah. No. No.
Godfather,
No. No.
but
No.
like what a dramatic improvement, because the
Yeah.
way that they end in the last scene is that like Aquaman says like only like the strong hate together, her, and then
Yeah.
he has that hilarious like back dive into the water.
Right.
Do you
Yeah.
remember
Right.
that? And he
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
swims away like a
Yeah.
gay
Yeah.
ass little stupid fish. And
Yeah.
then like in this version, Aquaman's there, Batman says something, he looks back, just ripples. Dude,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
dude,
Way
it's,
better.
it's
Yeah.
so in
Yeah.
addition to adding footage
Yeah.
to make shit make
Yeah.
sense, they cut shit out that is just
Right.
fucking stupid.
Well, to me, what happened was I think Josh Whedon added shit. I don't think they
I
cut.
yeah,
I think he
yeah.
added a bunch of things. The humor. And another thing that kind of blew me away is
They cut the boob shot. They cut like Flash falling on
thank
Wonder Woman.
God.
I clapped when that happened. I was so
Yeah, of course
happy.
they cut out. Jesus Christ. The Flash.
Yes.
Much better.
Wow.
Much better.
I
Much better.
literally I
think he's a little. I still think he's a little cringe, but
yeah.
but
Honestly, dude, I was so invested in his
yeah,
character.
no, he's a lot better in this, and it's weird because again, like whoever edited the original, like if I remember correctly, the whole thing with his dad, like why he wants to get his dad out of prison and that he's trying to get a job as a, being a lawyer or something. I believe that whole fucking thing wasn't in the original. I might be
No.
wrong,
Yeah.
but
Well, I
that's
remember
called
seeing
motivation.
I remember
There's
this.
a jail scene, but it's more like
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
more like get your life together. That's
Yeah,
it.
yes,
And
yeah.
there's no
So
like
I couldn't tell if I was crazy because there was a couple of scenes that seemed like I remember this being in the original, but for some reason it works now. And I don't really, and it's like
yeah.
that the jail scene was one with the dad, because in this version I was like, that was emotionally compelling, actually.
Yeah, right.
And then the other scene was when he meets Batman, which when I first saw that, I thought that
Way
the
better,
Flash
right?
was, excuse my
And I
language, a little retard boy. But like now I was like, dude, like he's a
yeah.
character.
Well, the
He's
thing
like,
about him is, well, I think what makes that better is that that was one of the first scenes we see of the Flash in the original.
yes.
In this movie, we get
Yeah.
this the introduction of the Flash in this movie is actually kind of awesome. And it's
Hmm.
when he's trying to get the job at the pet store and he saves that girl from
Yeah, that's a great scene. It's
but
a great
you
scene.
really get the sense of who he is. Like
Yeah.
in that is that he is this loner who doesn't know he's late for the interview, he's getting his resume, it's all kind
Yeah.
of it's like he's all flustered and he saves this girl. We see his speed and how he deals with, you know, just like picking the hot dog
Yeah.
out of the sky. Like you see his character more, you understand him more, and
Yeah.
so when
That's a
that
great
Batman scene
it,
happens, it makes more sense. You're
yes.
like, and it's also edited better. It's just edited better. It's
Yeah,
not
the pacing.
edited
Yeah.
very quickly. It's edited the way it was supposed to be fucking edited, the
Yeah.
way it was
Yeah.
shot. That's why when a director leaves, when a guy just gets this footage that this guy shot. Zack Snyder had a vision of the way it was supposed to be edited and the way it was supposed to be sequenced. But when you hand it off to somebody else, they're not going to do it correctly, most likely. You
Yeah,
know?
it's like it's a bummer because this was such an example of that, and I think Justice League is a situation of production hell where the
Yeah,
producers and
absolutely.
people got really involved with the product,
Yeah.
which rarely works out, almost never
It's a
works out
horrible,
well.
horrible situation
Yeah,
too.
and
You know?
Joss Whedon seems like, I mean, it's a bummer, but like he
I
seems
mean,
like an
his
awful
movies.
human being, and he
Yeah.
seems like he just manipulated the shit
I
out of
mean,
that whole production.
I mean, looks completely embarrassing now. Like, even if
Yeah,
you like, I mean, he did have a hard job. Like, I would understand like how to do that,
sure.
but the ego of it, of him basically, the third act of this movie, honestly, is fucking great.
Yeah.
The Zack Snyder
Yeah,
version,
well, let's
and
let's
why the hell just not even do it?
yeah.
I mean,
I
completely scrap the whole thing.
yeah,
Is completely different.
I know. Oh my
He is,
god.
which is
Oh
a
my
fucking
god.
neurotic decision because when you
Yeah.
see this Zack Snyder cut, you're like, bro, Josh Whedon, you're kind of a moron. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be blunt here. That was a horrible decision what you
Cuz I
made. Like,
remember
what was wrong with this? What
cuz
was wrong with this?
I remember the situation in Eve and I were talking about this because she watched, this is a great example of why this movie's more compelling, is that she came in and watched, she started watching it with me and she stayed for the rest of the movie because she was
Right.
so engaged with it, you know, because she wanted to know how it ended. And the
Yeah.
other Justice League, she was watching and stayed because of how funny it was, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Right.
Which, namely, the last scene was Superman fighting, which, like, thinking about it now, it's so ridiculously comedic because I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
that
It's the
last
fake
fight scene.
mustache. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Superman in the last scene when he's fighting is like bouncing around all the time, and it's so focused on Superman. But in this
Yeah.
point,
Right.
they really pace out
Focus
when
on,
Superman
I
is
don't know,
emotion is
the
significant.
Justice League. You know,
Yeah,
they jump around to the different members of the Justice League.
yeah.
You know, and
But they
so
cut it in the original. It feels like a fucking Looney Tune
yeah,
cartoon. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck is
yeah,
happening?
yeah,
But
right.
the other thing I really want to focus on is how much they improved Steppenwolf as a character and the
Yeah,
whole
that's
villain
something
and
that kind
thing.
of blew me away too.
Which is
Yeah.
what,
It's
which to
another thing.
me,
What are you?
what are you
Why
doing?
cut all these conversations out? Like you could, that's something that could have been left in. Like don't
Yeah,
even touch it. You know, like just the
yeah,
whole dark side shit. Just fucking leave it in. Just
yeah.
leave it
You might have
in.
been lucky enough to get a second movie if you did that. You
Yeah.
dumb fuck.
And
You
listen,
know?
like Steppenwolf, listen, he's not the best villain you ever see in your life.
Yeah,
But he looks way cooler. He
yeah,
definitely looks cooler. And the design of him is just different. And then, uh, you have motivation. You have like a
yes,
motivation of what he's doing and like
yeah,
why he's doing what he's doing. He's a slave to this
yeah,
guy, to Darkseid,
yeah,
you know? And and we knew that in the original, but you don't get that because you never see Darkseid. In
yeah.
this movie, you see him. He's a character in the movie that
Well,
you
yeah,
constantly see. Like with Thanos, you know, they're trying to do the Thanos thing,
yeah.
but
And I think that
not as
the other
well.
thing,
But
the other thing about movie making that I get frustrated, sometimes I feel like I have arguments with people about this, where, like, I will talk about a movie like not working and they'll say, oh well, they had that information in there, they said that information in there, like the point of, like, for example, Steppenwolf, like, well, he was motivated in the original movie, he said so in that information's in there, but the
no,
point that you're missing is that it's the thing is that
a lie is
you don't get to just
yeah,
insert
right,
information and say
yeah,
you did your job.
yeah,
You have to make it where a viewer will stop and watch and get that emotional
yeah,
punch right
exactly,
from
right,
that moment.
yeah,
And
just like knowing that information from a line
it
is
doesn't
like
it
not, yeah,
because you can miss fucking lines,
of
and
course,
especially
yeah,
in Justice League, which is such an it's such a I love this example now because it's so clear of, like, bad filmmaking versus good filmmaking with the same
yeah,
story,
right,
because it's like, yeah, Steppenwolf is the same character, but we feel it so much more in the 4-hour version. We know who he is. In the original version, we don't fucking know or care at all.
Who he is at all. And so that was great. One of I think my favorite thing possibly is Cyborg.
Yeah, I can't believe they gutted that whole storyline.
He's amazing.
He's great.
Cybercut, man. And I knew that. Cause I remember when the original one came out, Ray Fisher was very like vocal about how upset he was.
Yeah, I remember that.
Movie. And after seeing this, I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, because they just fucking cut all your scenes out, basically. Literally, I mean, the whole arc with his father, I thought worked very well in this version. I think when the father kills himself, sacrifices himself for the other box, actually worked. And when that happened, I was like, fuck! Like, I actually care about that.
Yeah.
And I think they set that up really well. And Cyborg's character, like, they didn't even have a scene in the original when he listens to his father's tape recorder and tells him like what his fucking powers are. You don't even get that in the original.
Yeah.
Like that whole great scene where you kind of learn what Cyborg can even do. Like he's figuring out what he can do. And like not even in the original.
Yeah, which is like, so ridiculous. What? It's so ridiculous because he's like, because. This is another point that actually Eva mentioned when we were watching this, because she was saying, well, I kind of see now why this is so long, because Marvel, when they were making Endgame and Infinity War, they were able to have this epic because they had all these movies which established these characters. Right. We've never fucking seen Cyborg or Aquaman before, ever. So the reason, like Justice League just throwing them in there, it's like, are you relying on the comic books? What are you doing?
Well, that's what's cool to have, like, we have this. Because this was, if the pandemic wasn't a thing, if HBO Max wasn't a thing, we never would have gotten this.
Absolutely not.
Never been a thing that we see.
Yeah.
And it's fucking cool that we do see it. And it's cool because it's very exciting to me. Because
I agree.
It is something that, like, maybe Marvel and DC can, because they have access to the streaming services, can do something like this. They can make it like a Falcon and Winter Soldier that is on Disney Plus right now. That is a 4-hour Marvel movie, small scale Marvel movie. But this is like, it's a 4-hour.
Yeah.
It could be cut out. This could easily be cut out into like a miniseries. And that's exciting and that's cool. And because it gives filmmakers room to do shit like this. That is very like just really go in depth with the story.
I think that this is a huge opportunity for where film, I hope, is going, because what this makes me think of, which I don't know how clear this connection will be, but I feel like this is similar to sampling in music. And to explain that, what I mean is the idea of taking a product, like you have a song and people will usually think that song is just that song. That's how it is, right? Yeah. But if you have a hip hop artist or a producer who's good, they'll take that song and make it into something else, right? It's completely different than what you thought that original song was, right? And that's what we're talking about right now, the capacity for these films to transform based on editing, different interpretation, a little bit new content, all that stuff, adjustments and things. It's huge what they can do with that.
Cool.
So
it's cool,
if we open that boundary, who the fuck knows what could happen? It could be so cool.
I will say I don't think that will ever happen again. I mean, I think it's just too complicated to do something like this. The fact that this is even a thing is really mind-blowing, because it's like you'll never see like a director like put out a movie again and then be like, I kind of want to redo that. And then a streaming service will like let them make like some version that they wanted.
Yeah.
You kind of get that with director's cuts with like iconic movies, with like Blade Runner or something like that.
I don't know, dude. I'm actually pretty optimistic. because like take a situation like what I'm thinking about is, I mean, there's a lot of things. I'm not saying this is happening next year. I think what's going to happen is that we won't see this again for a long time. I don't think this is going to happen again for a long time. I think it's going to be an anomaly.
Rare case,
but I think shit, the possibility of what could happen, what we in situations like this is that we could have, let's say there's a movie that's great, like Blade Runner 2049, something like that, right? That's awesome, literally amazing, you know, but it like bombs, right? Then a streaming service picks up a movie like that, and then we get like a new version and shit, something like that, or a series made off of that. It's like that's the potential I'm thinking of. You know, I don't really. This is a really way. Yeah, right. But like you're right. This is a really strange production because it's like it was funded by a big budget.
It was a movie that was already made that came out 3 years.
This is a really. I honestly don't understand how Zack Snyder got this to happen. Well, like it was the fan support, really. Right. Which is so cool, actually.
So cool, so awesome.
But which like we've shat plenty on DC fans, but good job on this one.
They will get into existence. Like that's cool, and like you know, because it does deserve. Now seeing it, this deserves to be seen in the world. Like this isn't like the greatest thing you'll ever see. Like there's still Zack Snyder corny shit in this, and I think like the last like 20 minutes of epilogue is just quite horrible.
I agree. But
it's just doesn't make any sense. But I understand why it's in it. You know, like I for the fans and it's you know I'm not mad that it's in the movie.
No,
because it's a 4-hour movie that he basically just put everything he had in the movie. It seemed like, and so that was quite bad. Like the literal ending to this movie.
Yeah.
But for the most part, man, it works and it's very and it I want to have a sit down with Zack Snyder and say, listen, man, try to make shorter movies. Because this is a great movie, but it's 4 hours.
Yeah.
Batman and Superman was 2.5 hours. You know, it was Batman sure. But if you see the director's cut, that's 3 hours and 10 minutes, significantly better. So he knows how to make a good, compelling story. The problem is he has a problem of whittling it down
condensing
to
it
under 3 hours.
Yeah.
And like that's why I'm like, Warner Brothers, how about this? If Zack Snyder comes up to you and goes, I want to make a Green Lantern Thor movie, and they go, okay, here's $500 million. Go make a fucking miniseries TV show or whatever you fucking want to do. Go, and because that would be great. Because he would literally be like, because I think Zack Snyder has, like, this movie proves that he has really cool ideas for, like, some of these characters.
Yeah, I agree.
Take them. And, like, how, like, I thought the action of this was, like, significantly better than the original version.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot more fun. There's actual, like, hero moments that you kind of want in these types of movies.
Like the Amazon opening scene, which is pretty much the same, but is actually better through sound editing and shit. Like he makes it better and he makes it work.
And so I think I would love to see him do another like DC adaptation. Like I think he is making pretty interesting. Like I think Man of Steel is a really interesting movie. I know a lot of people like don't like it, but I find it to be a really interesting Superman movie. And so, and I love that he tied Man of Steel into this movie and how Kal-El puts on Jor-El's, outfit, honoring his father, getting the second chance. Superman's arc in this movie is awesome. It is great. And so when you watch the original, you're like, what were they thinking? I mean, you're like, that's really what this whole movie is. You're just thinking, like, man, like, what did they do? I mean,
Yeah. I think, yeah, dude. I honestly, I agree with that. That's ultimately the thing. It's just like so flabbergasted how the original got made in the state that it is now.
yeah,
But I do want to, after I'm overly I'm positive about this movie. I'm just ecstatic. I love how much
yeah,
better it is and all that stuff. But I do want to also add in the perspective about
yeah,
talking about this movie in the context of movies in general,
right,
because one of the big factors about this is that this movie is dope for being a redemption story too.
right,
Like
right,
it's dope because of how much better it is
yeah,
than the
right,
original. If
right,
I saw this movie
yeah,
just as the 4 hour cut when it came out,
yeah,
I would probably be as ho hum about it as I was
probably,
about
yeah,
like Batman v
probably,
Superman,
probably,
which Batman v
probably.
Superman I have come to appreciate more. I
Yeah,
will
I
say
mean,
that.
we are both. I think we like that movie more than most people. I feel like
Yeah,
I just appreciate what that movie's going for.
I agree. I agree. And I think this is in a similar boat. But
Yeah,
however, the
I
thing
do
that
think this
we
is better. I do think
I
it's better than that movie so well.
yeah. I haven't seen Batman v Superman in a long time, but I
Yeah.
I I believe you and I could agree with that. Um
My balls are sweaty. Alright.
But I think the other thing, the elephant in the room, I think we have to address is that what this movie is, what you have to compare this movie to, in my opinion, is you have to compare this to Infinity War and Endgame, right? This is
Yeah.
what they're trying to make those movies. And when you talk about
I
that and you
will
compare
say,
it to
but
this,
here, well, okay. Before you say that, I have to
okay,
say this. This movie was supposed to come out, it came out before both those movies.
okay, that's really, really important to know that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
super important to know
Came
that.
out well before.
Yeah, that's
6 months before.
that is a
It was
really
supposed
important
to.
piece of
It was supposed
information.
to.
So with
In
that
other
in
words,
mind,
actually, this movie wouldn't have come out. If this movie came out in theaters, it would have been different. Because it would
yeah,
have not have been 4 hours. It would have been
yeah.
3, maybe.
Well, it was different. It was an hour and a half.
Well,
I know what
with
you're saying,
Zack
though.
Snyder, Zack Snyder was able
Yeah,
to actually
yeah.
edit it.
But I think, yeah. So that's really important information, which colors it different for me as well. But the other thing, but just what I was
No,
gonna
no.
say, that
Yeah.
compared to Endgame or Infinity Wars, this sucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those movies, the way they execute that is
Yeah. Yeah.
eons better
Right.
than how
Yeah.
this
Right.
movie executes
Yeah.
this superhero group up thing.
Right.
But I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because that adds a whole new perspective to this too. Because if this was
Sure.
a predecessor to Endgame, this version, right? If this
Yeah.
was a predecessor to Endgame, that would be cool, right?
Yeah.
Then we
Oh,
have
yeah.
this
Yeah.
history
Right.
of these
Yeah.
DC group up movies, these big things, Dawn of Just
Yeah.
Batman v Superman, Justice League, then we get
Yeah.
Endgame. That would be
Right.
dope. But seeing this come up after Endgame, it's just like Endgame did it better,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's really important to keep in mind. I just
And
wanted
I
to
think,
say that too.
and I think a lot of that, like, I think a lot of that has to just do with like how DC went about. Like, they should have made a solo Batman movie. They should have,
Yeah.
that's what makes the Marvel Cinematic Universe work so well, is that they were able to set up such deep lore with all the characters before you see an Infinity War that you
Yeah.
care so much about all of them. This is like it, even with the 4 hour cut, while you do get really good stuff with each one of the members, it's still you don't really know them that well.
Yeah,
Like
right.
it's still like,
You don't know
oh,
them
this
like you
isn't
know Thor. You don't know them like you know Iron
yeah,
Man. You don't
exactly
know
right.
them like you know Captain
But I
America.
will
It's
say,
just
like,
not comparable.
for what he had to do, like, I think he did a pretty good job of like setting up the characters
Which I
as
think is
fast as he could have.
which is what is so redeeming and exciting about this,
Right.
the 4 hour cut, is that
Yeah.
he was able to do that.
Yeah.
That's why
Right.
that's why it was such a great thing. I think this movie's kind of timely, like I
Yeah.
don't know if it will be
Absolutely.
as like long lasting in its goodness
No.
like Infinity War is,
No.
but like watching it right now and being as part of this phenomenon
Yeah.
is dope. It's
Yeah. I'm
awesome.
super happy that this is out there and that, like, fans DC and fans of the Justice League, like, get a movie that is worth watching and that is
Mhm.
worthwhile and that is interesting and is cool and is fun, and like there are genuine moments in this movie that kind of were like just fucking amazing. Like
Yeah.
Garrett, like as a fucking nerd and superhero guy fan. I mean, the Superman stuff when he came back in that Jor-El outfit, he went up into the fucking above the earth and kind of in that beautiful shot of him, you know, after that scene with Lois Lane that worked. What?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Lois Lane sucks in all the movies, but this one, she was like that conversation that they had at the house. I was like, yo, like,
Wow.
what? Like, because, you feel it. Like, he gets a
Yeah.
second
Yeah. Yeah.
chance. He was dead. And he
Yeah.
was Superman being the fucking, the god of good and everything that's good, took that as, I got a second chance. I'm gonna avenge my father. I'm gonna fucking,
Yeah.
and that was an awesome moment. It was a great moment. And so that's a fucking badass moment. The end with the beating Steppenwolf was awesome. Like it
Yes.
was a
So
great
much.
Justice
So
League
good.
moment. And when they teamed up and killed him and
They just look
uh
at Darkseid as they kick his head into
Dark
the
Side.
portal.
Yeah, and also
It's
like
sick.
the movie's R-rated too, so there's like more blood and
Yeah.
which is kind of fun.
I think
Especially like
Batman says fuck
visual.
once.
Just fuck ones was kind of cool. Um, and so, uh, yeah, that one was awesome. When the Flash was like
He reversed time. That was so sick. Like the
awesome.
emotional core of the movie was the
Yeah,
Flash, which I would
great.
I would if, never in a million years if I was told I saw the original cut and they said Flash is going to be was intended to be the emotional core. It's like
Right,
that was a mistake, but it works so well.
right. I mean, it's super cool. And yeah, it's just I was blown away by how much this was better. And like, yeah, and I hope that, like we said, like I hope that this could happen more. Like I'd be
I do
interested.
too.
I know, long truth, Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Hmm.
It was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something, close to 3 hours. But there's rumors that he shot like a 5 hour cut.
Wow. Just let that give me that. Just give me some of
Just
that,
give me
dude.
some of that. Netflix, buy that, and let's just let Quentin Tarantino put his 5 hour cut of Once Upon a Time. He has it on his laptop.
Yeah,
He
he just
has the
watches it. It's like
Yeah, he
this
just
this
watches
is
it
the
and he's
good
like,
version.
man, too bad we have to cut that out. Let's just let him show it. So like
Come
you're right. Like
on.
I kind of wish. I'm glad that you um rephrased what you said because I understand what you're saying now.
Hmm.
With because like yeah, I would love to see more shit like that for sure. Like just
Yeah.
more like direct like cool movie comes out and they're just like, hey, here's all these deleted scenes. But yeah, we get that, like deleted scenes, but I want to see like if they exist. Sometimes they just don't even exist. Like
Yeah, right.
this is the movie that I wanted to make. I didn't make another version of the movie.
I did a good
Um,
job. What do you
yeah,
want from me?
right, right. But so like Quentin Tarantino, who's like, listen, I got a 6 hour cut of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's like, could we see it? And
I
it's
want to see
not
it.
for go put it in theaters, but put it on a streaming service that
Yeah.
hardcore fans like you and I to watch. If
Yeah,
we
I mean,
watch
and
it.
Hateful Eight kind of did that with like
Hateful
their
Eight, yeah,
the
they had
longer
the
version of
extended
it.
cut, yeah, the 3 hour and 45 minute cut of it or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, totally. So, like, cool, man. I'm into it. This is like the new version of the director's cut. I wouldn't even call this the director's cut. It's so insane that it's
Yeah.
like just
Well,
a
it,
new
it
movie.
yeah, absolutely. It's
It's
just
a
like it's a
Justice
completely
League
different
movie.
filming. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Man, well, I think we can comfortably say that all three of the things we talked about today, Roadrunner, Kong versus Godzilla, and Snyder's Cut
Yeah.
is, do you know what I'm
Thick,
about to say? Are you
thick,
ready to say
thick,
it with me?
thick, thick,
Thick
big,
and
big butter.
butter.
Approved.
It was a good week. We had juicy stuff to talk about. It was a redemption.
Big, fat, and juicy.
Well,
What are we talking about next week, Bob?
Next week, I've been debating between a couple of films, but I think I've been doing a gladiator match in my mind. I've been pitting everybody against each other. And it's not Gladiator. Gladiator did not win. It lost to watching Theodore Rex again. But what I decided on for next week is watching the perfect film Robots.
Okay. The classic DreamWorks animated film.
Because
2004.
Because that's a film that
a 2000s classic.
Yeah, that's a film that I remember when it came out. It got a lot of buzz. I remember liking it a lot when I watched it as a kid.
Of course,
it's on HBO Max, and I think it's going to be appropriate for you and I to return to it next week.
I think so. I think that's a good pick. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Thanks.
Wow, I can't believe you listened to this.
All the way here?
Thank
you think you're pretty cool by this point, huh?
Subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, the iTunes, the Spotify's, the
Stitchers,
the fucking Pod
Bean
Mouth or whatever. I think there's a place called Pod Mouth.
I think there's a podcast. Anyways, I don't know.
Called Podmouth?
Yeah, I think there's something called Podmouth.
Yeah. We love you. I don't know what else to do.
If you have children, or if your children have children, or if you have a mother or father, or anybody in your phone directory, basically a lizard, a monkey, a monkey. We have a whole zoo. I don't remember who's allowed in and not anymore. We allow children, extended family, a whole zoo, a variety of squashes and vegetables that are allowed into our audience. So, dude, come on. Set up an email list, because we're fucking not going to do that. You got to do that. Yeah. That's your job as a listener. Set up a thick and buttered email list and say, listen to this goddamn podcast, dude.
Email all your squash friends.
All your squash. So, yeah, I mean, do that, man. I don't know what you've been waiting for all this time. It's like your destiny. Come on. Set up that email list for all your squash.
CCD. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
100. Really cool.
Bye.